gonna be a tough battle between these two teams that is gonna be competing for this one. 10 heroes that they already choose for this first game.
I love the draft from both of these teams, and I just can't wait for it, just as you guys can't wait to get into the Land of Dawn. And here we are, Hai making his debut in MPL as a roamer. Arashi, you mentioned backstage that you have seen him play this roamer position before.
I think what he brings to the table is that boldness and daringness to experiment, right? The same way he was using it to try and get weird picks in the jungle, you can expect a lot of weird ways for him to engage, weird approaches, but he is up against a Pharsa and a Kufra. We've seen this combination being so annoying, so deadly coming in from Onyx Esports, and with the Hayabusa, it's almost a similar three-man mid-lane situation, and for the moment, at least in the early game, RRQ is going to have so much pressure, and Aura needs to be very, very careful.
Yeah, and so far we see that actually the movement coming from Vin from previous day as well. They always like try to control the jungle of the opponent side. But I think like if they are doing with a Kufra, it's gonna be a different kind of story because it's Atlas on the other hand of the opponent. And fun fact by Grab here, this is debut in Season 6 with Aura. This is the first time Hai play as a roamer in FLID. Yes, this is a debut of Hai being a roamer, but the heroes that he has been using so far really suit this role for Hai itself for this team. So I think like the movement coming from Hai needs to be like in control because he is the jungler before. Changing into a roamer, it's not going to be an easy decision to be done inside of the Land of Dawn itself.
Let's talk about the matchups as well here. Herib versus the Claude. I think both of these laners do pretty well against each other. Tide will have a significant advantage once he gets that level 4 power spike up against Skylar, who has opted to go for the Purify, which is honestly, in this game, a very wise choice, right? We will see what Orify can do with this new lineup. And early on, with Lemon in the XP lane, already giving RENBO a bit more XP to play with here. It's going to be a Lemon who tries to open up the side. Hai flickering forward, goes off the pin, finds the fatal link, because Kabuki will be able to secure the Retribution. Vin to be able to fall right there as that's Orify completely collapsing with Fluffy jumping in with the Furious Dive. It's a double kill for Facehugger, and Orify are back to their form.
Wow, that's a 3-4-0 trade for Orify, and they secure the turtle as well. We talked about how RRQ has a lot of pick-off potential, a lot of burst damage, but keep in mind that in a big teamfight situation, you have a Fatal Links on the Atlas later on. You have Fluffy with the Furious Dive, and of course Facehugger with the Terrify coming in from the Valentina. So RRQ needs to avoid clumping up like that and make the fight a bit more spaced out, where then there are longer range heroes can actually find moments to try and get effective moments in those big team fights.
Yeah, the flexibility coming from the Benedetta previously in the draft is just like giving a lot of things for our Fire. You know, with the war just now with 3 hero that is a melee hero coming from the side of RRQ, like the Vinyl Blow along with Fluffy's Dragon Tail is just changing a lot to the side of Aura. They're gaining a lot of potential. The only problem is only RENBO, but you know, the presence from Yuchong already accounted for that one. But oh ho, look at the talent's prediction. Miracle and KB going for Aura?
See, for me personally, looking at the rosters, it's interesting for Aura Fire, but mainly I'm looking at the draft, right? Aura basically have an answer to every single dive potential from the side of every team, and Fluffy's able to escape. Meanwhile, Kabuki finds the final blow. Actually, they're able to get a pretty good trade here up top. It's 2 versus 3, yet they are able to survive here. And Fluffy's able to recall, getting back into lane to pick up the cannon minion as Hai tries to look for something else in the bottom side, but the airstrike gets popped in as Facehugger stole that away earlier with the IMU. Orify are reacting really well to the proactive plays of RRQ.
My concern is later on, Lemon on this glue is going to be so oppressive, so annoying when the fights are clumped up and chaotic like that. His slam passes and the split of course is going to make things so weird for Orify to maneuver around, and I think it's going to be a big challenge for them to fight against unless they can find a different approach, because if they try and spread apart, I don't think they come out on top against RRQ unless RENBO gets picked off. So I think RENBO here is the main deciding factor in how the fight goes. If he gets bursted down or zoned away, I do think that RRQ automatically just loses a footing in a big team fight.
And I think this is the positioning-wise, RRQ really needs to do something regarding this. And with the position coming from RENBO, actually it's coming really well already. Skylar just need 2 items to actually being there for the damage to the side of Aura Fire, because Aura Fire right now, they're really on the really good position. They're leading in every turn, but Vince doing a lot of movement with Fluffy here.
Good perfect match to cancel out the Tyrant's Revenge. Is now high, jumps over the Fatal Links, and it's still Kabuki winning the Retribution battle against Albert. Now it's Kabuki versus Lemon as he tries to jump into the midst. On to high now, that's only the roamer. Vin gonna be petrified and knocked up by Fluffy as Lemon is gonna be brought back entirely to the enemy side. Aura Fire with Facehugger picking up the killing spree and the turtle. It is looking good for the Dragons.
Seems to be a bit of a disconnect here in how RRQ is approaching these fights, because they're not going in at the same time. They're using a lot of the resources, like the Feather Airstrike, onto the roamer, but look at this.
Giant trying to sustain right now with the dashes as he is going to be able to do so, but Albert comes into the fray with that high and dry, dealing a whole lot of damage and taking Chai down in the gold lane.
This is like unstoppable move coming from Aura Fire, but RENBO will be doing the Vera strike, and there you go. 1 point for the RRQ side. It's still 2 and 4. The differences in gold is still there. It's still lead by Aura Fire side, but it's not a lot. The question is, like, Lemon was having a hard time with the glue going against Aura Fire. Is it because they don't have like any hero that actually the main target? Because Valentina can be someone else from the side of RRQ. Plus, it's unreachable with Parrot. What do you think about this, Arash?
I think it's the fact that he is going alone in the backline, and when he is damaging everyone and taking away so much attention from Aura Fire, his team is nowhere near to capitalize on the situation. As the fight develops later on, and it's going to be centered around the mutual objectives, I do think that RRQ can adjust this and make sure that this glue is going to be a bigger and bigger problem, but he needs to stop using the split onto high, right? That is not the right target, and he is not the jungler right now. If he's a jungler, this makes a bit more sense. But for now, with the early game pressure with the Feather Airstrikes, it's only a 600, well, even 500 right now gold lead, and with a marksman, the late game is still very scary for the side of RRQ. The distance that they can use with the Feather Airstrike, as well as the Blazing Duet later on.
Yeah, I do agree. Like, Skylar is still very free so far, but High, with a battling right now towards Finn, not the main target that he wants, I guess.
Skylar backing up as well. With that BMI, it does feel like Aura Fire are going to be able to look for these neutral objectives without any contest. Even when RRQ contests for it, Albert's just not on point with the Retribution here in Season 11.
No, the battle... Oh, again! Kabuki! Stealing over the purple buff!
And the Eye for an Eye gets him out here, gonna be knocked up, but Kabuki still finding a way to escape. As High finds the stun with the perfect match. Facehugger has rotated inside, and literally, just as I say it, Kabuki is able to steal the purple buff away, and this is a very expensive purple buff to take against an assassin.
Yeah, and not only that one, because Kara also doing the job here to do the slippers in the bottom lane. And he's getting the turret, the objective that RRQ wants. And now the gold's slightly going a little bit towards RRQ here. They're dropping down the gold differences so far.
The issue right now is that Kaid is not really keeping up with Skylar in terms of farm. He is 2 levels behind as Skylar is left alone to keep farming up for that late game. And you can see that RRQ, they're just waiting because the next team fight will be Skylar with all the item power spikes, and Aura Fire need to understand and recognize that and prepare some kind of counter, some kind of crowd control to shut him down, because otherwise it's going to be dangerous.
Kabuki dealing more damage there against the Haya. Vin with a little bit of a misplay there, not connecting the Tyrant's Revenge, but Skylar, this game has been absolutely massive. I don't know how he's able to get a lead, XP lead against an XP laner, but somehow he has done it. He is level 11, ahead of the curve right now. Is High with Kabuki, jumps onto Vin, gonna be stunned up and taken down by Fluffy. The Feather Airstrike by RENBO, not dealing as much as Facehugger, who's 2 levels ahead of RENBO.
And this is a big problem with the gap of level, gap in terms of gold is also going to be an issue here. But look at the pressure that is given from the side of Aura Fire.
Oh!
Not too sure about that play there. Chai is going to be punished almost instantaneously. Looking for a siege without proper zoning from Aura Fire, knowing that a lot of these abilities have been used earlier in the fight up top.
I was about to mention that RRQ, they're not really setting up their fights properly, right? We see that Vin makes an aggressive move, but his friends are not available. But look at this play, that was shot down for Albert as Hai tries to try and catch him, try and get something in exchange.
What is actually happening? But it's not stopping Albert!
Kabuki with the eye for a knife, but Skylar comes in once again, sealing the deal for his team, getting 2 kills on the board for RRQ as he does more damage than Chai. Forced to use as a Mind Force defensively. Skylar is still on the chase, and this is what we were talking about. Even without the ultimate, the Claude is deadly. Fluffy all alone, forced to use the Black Dragon form defensively onto Skylar right now. He has the Petrify, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna work for now. Fluffy needs to disengage, using the Furious Knife defensively once again. It's RRQ who have built up this 1,000 gold lead now.
I don't know where is the damage from Skylar coming from. It's just so crazy. I bet he finished the 3 items already. I don't know if he's making over defensive one. Usually when we see it's going against Harit plus Valentina, 2 mage from the opponent side, they might be going for Athena's shield. But I don't think that's the case for Skylar. He's just like being very free on the backline, not even being touched so far, with 1 kill and 3 assists. Like RRQ, they are going crazy. Now they are melting down every kind of things coming from the side of Aura Fire.
I think the issue right now is that Aura Fire does not have any kind of dynamic engage. The most surprising thing they can pull off right now is to go for a Flicker Fatal Links engage using High. But that is also very predictable coming in. So even if Skylar wants to build full damage, he is relatively safe as RRQ right now has full control over the Lord area. The wave management isn't exactly on point, but that is going to be a Lord picked up by RRQ.
Perfect match, and the Conceal used up by Hai. Now he's looking for a Fatal Links, but Skylar has the Purify. They can bait it out just like that. Hai is forced to flicker out. There's nothing he can do against a Claude with Purify. RRQ just absolutely styling here. They were behind for a bit, but they understand with their composition that they will be behind in the early stage. Tied here, not performing to our expectations. And it's unfortunate to say, but wherever Kabuki goes, that's the strength of Aura Fire, whether it's gold or even the jungle.
Oh my god, that battle mirror image is just a base.
Look at him.
Towards Aura Fire, and the damage coming from Skylar. This is a nonsense thing. I don't know. Wait, this kind of level gap.
Malefic Roar.
It's just like super painful with the Malefic Roar as well here. No, the Lord is much into bottom lane, but Vin and the rest will try to take every single objective from the side of Aura Fire.
If this devolves into a siege situation, RRQ also have the lead because they have that long-range artillery in RENBO. 0 deaths, by the way, despite the game being so aggressive and full of action. It's a 6-6 scoreline, but RRQ right now has the advantage composition-wise, and they're going for it.
For the airstrike as well, on the backside is going to be Kabuki, who jumps in with the final blow, zoning RENBO away. Vin finding the revenge onto Kabuki, but will not be able to follow it up even more with the Tyrant's Rage under the Tyrant. And Skylar with the Purify, he's going to be able to deal out the damage, as that's also the Shadow Kill popped in to finish Aura Fire off. 2 members down, only Vin taken down. Skylar still with the BMI, playing it super defensively, dealing out the damage onto Kabuki and stepping back towards his BMI. Albert jumping in, has the Quad Shadow to walk back. Kabuki wants to go for some more. He jumps with the eye for a 9, Phantom Slash as well to pick up a kill. He even gets out. Kabuki still here playing to save his team from its demise.
It was a risky move coming from Albert. I don't think that he should jumping in. But I want to mention like how RENBO, along with Albert, actually denying the movement coming from Aura Fire, especially from Fluffy. We can see it from the instant replay here. How like after they know where is the movement coming from the side of Aura Fire, they just going back directly.
And you can see that with everything being used right there, with the momentum just used by RRQ, you can see that when Skylar comes in with the Battle Mirror image and the Blazing Duet, there wasn't anything left from Aura Fire. And even if they do, the Purify is still being used there. It was used in that previous fight, and Aura Fire have to time around it. And it's on such a short cooldown relative to the situation. So Aura Fire must try and find something different here. Maybe a conceal play, maybe a macro outplay, a split push, but now they go for it.
Fluffy,
Skylar.
Oh man, he's able to melt them down. The Blazing Duet as well, but High finds the Fatal Links right now. Chai with his on force not dealing enough damage as Vin pops in a bouncing ball. Chai with the Purify, not going to be able to survive this one as Albert, Vin, and Skylar collapse on them, and it's the baby alien with a triple kill. 3.5 thousand gold lead, 4 members down, Kabuki all alone versus RRQ. Caught in the fan right now as he pops in the final blow, able to jump to the back line, jumps in with the eye for an eye, but he will fall. His immortality has been popped, and his life will be taken out. RRQ with game number 1.